Revealed. 7 supernatural signs you are a divine monarch from a previous life prophesied for greatness. In the quaint village of Green Hollow, with its cobblestone streets and centuries-old church, whispers of divine revelations were about to unfurl. Sarah, a devoted wife and mother of 2, sat amongst her fellow parishioners during prayer meeting, her heart racing. Vibrant visions punctured the fabric of her dreams, grand royal halls, gilded crowns, and echoes of prophecies intertwined with her very essence. Each night she awakened, shivering with both fear and exhilaration, grappling with meanings no one else seemed to grasp. Her friends listened, wide-eyed and curious. "What if there is truth to your dreams, Sarah? What if you are chosen?" exclaimed Judith, her heart aflame with hope. But not all were convinced. Dismissing her visions as mere fantasies, Rachel replied coolly, "Love, let us not get ahead of ourselves." Pockets of skepticism burrowed through the supportive fabric of their community, sparking tension where there had once been unwavering faith. As the rift widened, tragedy hit Green Hollow. A beloved elder collapsed during Sunday service, hearts plummeting with shock and grief. The congregation poured into the church, candles flickering with sorrowful prayers, as Sarah felt the weight of her visions pressing down on her. "What does it mean?" she thought, overwhelmed with feelings of unworthiness. She longed to help, yet questioned her own worthiness to guide others, while whispers questioned her authority too. Then came a stormy evening, the church dimly lit, Sarah kneeling among the congregation, prayer rising like incense towards the heavens. Suddenly, as if the very air pulsed alive, a warmth enveloped them. Light appeared, a gentle glow that flooded the room, igniting hushed gasps. Sarah's heart pounded as visions surged once more, now filled with clarity. "I see signs," she cried out, eyes wide. A rush of understanding washed over her, a divine message echoing through the ages. Yet the question of whether this was truly from God loomed heavily in their hearts. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let us continue. The incredible events transformed Sarah in that sacred moment as villagers shed their doubts, sharing their own hopes, fears, and dreams. "Could it be," whispered one, tears glistening, "that we are part of something greater? That Sarah has been given a mantle to lead us?" The room buzzed with fervent faith, hearts united in wonder. As Sarah felt the weight lift, perhaps she was not just a dreamer, but a vessel of profound divine potential. Yet despite the collective faith awakening, skeptics still hung in the shadows, casting questions upon her path. She was torn. Could she really step into the role laid before her? Would her fragile faith hold against the weight of destiny? As they gathered in prayer, embraced in hope, the tension only tightened. There, amidst flickering candlelight, they awaited a sign from above, as a whisper of divine purpose echoed within them all. Would Sarah rise to claim her calling, or would the shadows of doubt shroud their community once more? The answer felt as elusive as the light that had just shone upon them, plunging them into the uncertainty of what the future would hold. Within the flickering candlelight and the heavy air of expectation, Sarah's heart swelled with hope and fear. Voices around her murmured, casting glances filled with nervous anticipation, uncertain of what would manifest next. What was happening? Was the divine truly interceding in their lives through her? "Let us pray for clarity." A gentle voice broke the murmur. It was Judith, Sarah's closest friend. With eyes closed and palms open, she invoked the Spirit, her words weaving a shared desire for guidance. "Lord, show us your will. Show us if Sarah is chosen." As each parishioner prayed, Sarah felt their heartfelt intentions wrap around her like a cozy blanket. Yet, the weight of their faith pressed heavy on her. She visualized the royal halls, the thrones, the crowd awaiting her words, yet she fought the rising tide of doubt. What if she failed them? What if the visions were simply reflections of her own longing? Feel the energy, Judith urged, breaking through the swirl of confusion in Sarah's mind. This warmth is a sign. Suddenly, the air thickened, and a brightness lit the church, radiating from a point above Sarah's head. She gasped, feeling an otherworldly breeze brushing against her face. All eyes turned upwards, faces illuminated by a divine glow. "It's him!" A voice cried into the stillness, awash with awe. "The presence of the Holy Spirit is here." Tears welled up as joy cascaded through the congregation like a waterfall, each drop reflecting their renewed faith. Sarah's heart quickened. Perhaps this was the moment she had been waiting for, the moment to embrace her destiny. But as the warmth enveloped her, she caught fleeting doubts, lurking like shadows. Could this really be meant for her? "Speak, Sarah," Judith encouraged. "Let yorat pour fort." Gathering every ounce of courage, Sarah opened her mouth. I see our community as a unified body, orchestrated for a purpose much larger than any of us. We are called to rise, to heal one another, and to create a loving sanctuary in Green Hollow. A chorus of amens echoed through the church, rising higher and more fervent with every word. The energy swelled, encircling them in a heavenly embrace. Every heart beat as one, swelling with purpose and belonging. But amidst the fervor, Rachel stood at the back, arms crossed defiantly. Her skepticism was palpable. With furrowed brows, she scoffed under her breath, "This is madness. Can we not see this is just a fantasy?" The sharpness of her doubts pierced through Sarah's joy, like a sudden gust of wind threatening to extinguish a flickering flame. Yet, amid her battle, she also saw the truth. Rachel's heart was in turmoil. She felt pain just as strongly as the rest. They were all grappling for understanding together, each in their own way. "Rachel," Sarah called into the crowd, her voice cutting through the whispers. "Come closer. We need your spirit too." The congregation hushed, turning to see Rachel's face, a mixture of surprise and hesitance. "Will you embrace this journey with us?" Sarah asked gently, extending her hand out as a gesture of solidarity. "Your voice matters. We may challenge one another, but together we can seek the divine truth." In that instant, the collective spirit of the village hung in the balance, a beautiful tapestry of faith, doubt, and possibility. Rachel's eyes locked with Sarah's, each woman's heart reflecting the other's struggle. "Will you join us, Rachel?" Sarah's voice was soft and inviting, powerful like a whispering breeze. The room waited, breathless. What would Rachel say? Would she rise with the community or retreat behind her doubts? The sacred moment held its breath, suspended in divine anticipation. For a heartbeat, silence blanketed the church, heavy and thick. All eyes, filled with raw emotion, bounced back and forth between Sarah and Rachel, as if the world outside had vanished. Sarah's heart raced, a rhythmic reminder of her human vulnerability in this sacred moment. Rachel, caught in the pull of faith and skepticism, looked at Sarah's outstretched hand, a simple gesture signaling hope, unity, and an invitation. The glow from above continued to illuminate the room, casting gentle shadows that danced along the walls, whispering stories of those who had walked this path before them. "You really believe this, don't you?" Rachel finally uttered, her voice wavering. She searched Sarah's eyes for truth, her own heart quivering at the possibility of something greater. "Yes," Sarah replied, her voice steady despite the fear coiling within her. "I believe in the love that binds us all. I believe we can transform our doubts into a lamp for our feet, guiding us toward what is divine within us." Gasps filled the air, a ripple of exhilaration sparking through the congregation like an awakening. The collective heartbeat of Green Hollow reverberated in worship, a tapestry woven of uncertainty and faith, striving for the light. Rachel stepped forward hesitantly, her arms unfolding as if shedding a heavy coat. "Fine," she said, but her tone lacked the bite of defiance. "But I want tea, just accept. I'll need to see something real." "You are not alone," Judith interjected, her voice booming with assurance. "We're not blind to our struggles. Here in our community, we face doubts together, and we look for the divine together." At that moment, with a deep intake of breath, they all felt the rush of wind swirl around them. It was as if the very spirit of their ancestors echoed through the walls, pulsating with the energy of ages past. These breaths of history spiraled into their souls, igniting something profound. "Where there is faith, there is power," Sarah declared, her spirit lifted higher by Judith's words. She knew, deep down, that each doubt voiced, each pain acknowledged created a pathway to the divine. She held Rachel's gaze with reassurance, seeing a flicker of understanding beginning to take root. The congregation, filled with towering emotion, began to chant softly, "Where there is love, there is truth. Where there is trust, there is light." A chorus of believers united, voices rising, intermingling perfectly with a new current of belief. Suddenly, Rachel's eyes shimmered, a reflection of the dawning realization that perhaps there was more to all this, a chance for rebirth alongside her peers. The room swelled with energy, a living organism pulsing, vibrating with expectancy. "Let us seek our signs together," Sarah proposed, her voice designed to comfort yet challenge. "Let us pray for divine revelation to witness truths that go beyond our fears." With collective enthusiasm, the parishioners knelt as one, bringing forth their prayers. Hands clasped, hearts intertwined, they flooded Green Hollow with words of hope, love, and longing. A divine quietness soon settled, washing over them like the first gentle rain after a long drought. Sarah, feeling deeply anchored by the shared spirit, closed her eyes. "Lord, reveal yourself to us. Let us feel your presence in our doubts, your love in our struggles," she whispered that a shiver of anticipation ran through the congregation. In that stillness, they sensed the universe shifting, as though divine wheels began to turn in a scene not yet fully revealed. But just as a light began to pierce through their prayers, a sudden chill swept through the church, disrupting their moment of unity. The flickering candles struggled against an unseen breeze, and then a voice, bold and clear, cascaded upon them, shattering their prayerful silence. "Beware! The path ahead is not what you expect." Every heart thundered in response. What did this mean? What trials lay ahead? As they turned to seek the source of the voice, the air crackled with electricity, the divine orchestration drawing near, and in that moment of divine intervention, they understood that the journey was just beginning, an unveiling of mysteries that stretched beyond their imaginings. What awaited them in this colliding space between doubt and belief? Would they be ready for the signs yet to come? The tension in the church hung thick, like a heavy mist refusing to disperse. The flickering candles cast erratic shadows, flicking back and forth, mimicking the heartbeats of the congregation that now swelled with both trepidation and anticipation. The voice that echoed a divine warning lingered in the air, wrapping around them like a shroud. "What do we do now?" whispered Judith, her voice trembling yet resolute. The congregation shifted uneasily, eyes darting around the room, as if searching for answers hiding within the very walls of Green Hollow. For a moment, silence reigned again, save for the soft rustle of bodies adjusting, their breath caught tight in their chests. In that sacred space, Sarah took a step forward, her heart beating steadily, a rhythmic drummer urging them into the unknown. "Friends," she began, her voice barely above a whisper, yet imbued with a strength that transcended fear. "We may not fully understand the warning we've just received, but can we not embrace it as an invitation? An invitation to seek, to explore, to uncover the depths of our faith?" A deep murmur arose, voices mingling, weaving into a tapestry of shared resolve. Rachel gazed at Sarah, a flame of curiosity ignited in her heart. "An invitation?" she echoed, allowing the thought to settle in her mind. Yes, Sarah affirmed, her spirit crackling with energy. What if this path ahead, filled with uncertainty, is a journey toward understanding who we are meant to be? We might discover our purpose hidden in the trials to come. The air seemed to vibrate with possibilities as Sarah's words sank in. Encouraged by her determination, Judith grasped Rachel's hand, a gesture of solidarity. Let us not fear what lies ahead, but rather welcome it. What if every challenge we face is a step toward uncovering our divine purpose? As the congregation nodded in agreement, energy filled the room once more. A spark ignited in hearts anew, solidifying the community in a shared mission. Let us remain steadfast, Sarah continued. Let us agree to seek the signs together, whatever they may manifest as. Divine revelation might just be around the corner. Suddenly, their fervent whispers began to resonate, sounding like a chorus of hope woven from the very fabric of faith. As each individual spoke their prayers aloud, asking for guidance, they became a forest of voices, rooted deeply in belief, stretching toward the heavens. The air felt electric, the essence of the unknown drawing close. And just then, in the midst of this newfound unity, vibrant orbs of light began to flicker throughout the room. Surrounded by the glow, joy and wonder mingled with awe, flowing like a river of shared faith. Look, Rachel gasped, her eyes wide with astonishment. The lights darted among them, rising and falling, circling like playful children in a game. It was as if angels themselves were playing above their heads, messengers of hope offering affirmation to their plea. Judith's heart swelled. Perhaps these are indeed the signs we seek, she cried, almost laughing with delight. Proof that divine presence abounds, guiding our journey even through uncertainty. As the congregation embraced the miraculous display, the energy transformed into something tangible, rippling through them. They felt as if they had ascended to a higher plane of awareness, a conviction threading through every heart in this sacred moment. They were deeply connected, bonds strengthened by shared vision. But even amidst their shared joy, a new question began to creep in. What now? What lay beyond this beacon of light? Were they ready for the challenges to come? Sarah turned her gaze toward the flickering lights, the sacred dance palpably alive in the air. We must prepare ourselves, she urged softly, for trials may indeed come, but with them, we may also encounter the divine revelations that will reshape our lives. The congregation was ready, faces shining with newfound determination. They had entered this moment trembling with doubt, yet they now stood poised on the precipice of spiritual awakening, voices and laughter filled. The air, the unshakable truth, loomed ever larger. They were walking towards something extraordinary. What awaited them on this divine path? And what other signs would they witness next as they ventured forth into the unknown? As the warmth of hope enveloped the church, Sarah gathered the congregation's attention once more. She could feel the weight of their unspoken questions hanging in the air like a gentle mist. Friends, she began, her voice steady, let's not only seek signs but also clarity in our hearts. Judith nodded vigorously, her mind ablaze with thoughts. How do we prepare for what is to come? We've experienced a glimpse of the divine, but how do we keep that flame alive as we step out into uncertainty? A collective sigh fluttered through the group. It was a breath of vulnerability, yet it felt holy, a shared recognition of their collective journey. Rachel stepped forward, inspired by Sarah's words and fueled by Judith's query. Perhaps we should look within. The signs may not only be external. They could be the whispers of God in our hearts. Yes, Sarah exclaimed, her excitement rippling through the crowd. Let us commit to seeking what that inner voice reveals. Deep within each of us lies our divine essence, waiting to be uncovered. The atmosphere shifted, a palpable energy sweeping through the church like a swift breeze. Candles flickered harmoniously, and the vibrant lights continued their dance, reflecting the growing sense of unity. But lingering shadows of doubt still nudged at the edges of their hope. What if we can't hear that voice? Someone hesitantly called out from the back. A moment of silence built up, and then, like a pebble thrown into still water, the ripple of doubt transformed. "We must trust," Judith said, her voice strong and unwavering. "Trust in prayer and stillness. God communicates in many ways. We just need to open our hearts." The congregation nodded, emboldened by her words. They settled into a sacred silence, a moment crafted in devotion. There was something profound about the quiet, the openness to receive what God might reveal. Then, as if an answer, a deeply resonant hum permeated the space, a sound that felt woven into the very fabric of their beings. The lights twinkled brighter, and suddenly visions danced in the minds of many. Memories forgotten, feelings long buried, and snippets of hope surged forth. "Oh," Rachel exclaimed, her eyes shining. "I remember the promise made to me as a child. The words spoken in my heart that I was destined for greater things. Maybe this is what it was about." Excited murmurs echoed around the room. A wave of realization swept over them, igniting spirits like the dawn chasing away the night. "Yes, our past holds truths about our futures." Sarah urged, "Let us dig deeper, not only in prayer, but in understanding who we are. We are loved, we are guided, and we each hold the power to reveal the divine within us." With renewed vigor, the church came alive. People began sharing stories of love, of struggle, and of clarity found in previous trials. Each tale interwove, forming a quilt of shared destiny. As they leaned into the intimate connection of their experiences, the vibrant lights above twinkled in response. They were not just individuals, but parts of a greater tapestry, each thread vital to the whole. But just as their aspirations took flight, a sudden chill swept through the room, a haunting whisper of uncertainty. What if their revelations were still buried deep, out of reach? What if we can't maintain this? Judith's voice trembled slightly, breaking through the cheerful chatter. What if the divine presence fades like smoke in the wind? A hush fell. It was a deeply human question, raw and real. Tension crackled again, dancing through the air, mingling with their faith. In that pregnant pause, Sarah spoke, her voice gentle yet powerful, a journey of discovery isn't just about reaching a destination. It's a pilgrimage through the valleys as much as through the mountaintops. We must hold this moment close, but also trust in our ability to nurture it. Encouraged, Judith added, "Together, we'll learn, not just from ourselves, but from one another, and from the trials that await us." As their voices melded, a sense of reassurance wrapped around them, like a warm blanket of shared strength and purpose. They would navigate the unfolding mystery alongside faith and one another. Yet as hope filled the air, the question loomed larger in their hearts. How would they stay the course? What trials might shake their newfound resolve? And as they stepped forth into the unknown, what profound revelations awaited on the horizon? As the congregation settled into a serene stillness, their hearts beat in unison, pulsing with faith and hope. Each one held a flicker of anticipation, eager to understand what was being unveiled. Sarah stood before them, her eyes sparkling with a warmth that could light the darkest paths. "Let us remember," she said softly, "that sometimes the answers we seek are hidden in our own stories. The very trials that feel burdensome can be the key to our liberation." The flickering candles around them seemed to agree, their flames dancing in a rhythm that mirrored the murmurs of agreement from the crowd. Judith, inspired, continued, "We have each walked through valleys. We have faced our doubts, struggled with despair, and yet we are here. What if we share the wisdom we gleaned? What if, in the telling, we find not just clarity but strength?" The air thickened with a sense of sacred purpose as individuals began to step forward, recounting their journeys. One after another, they painted vivid pictures of despair transformed into joy, of hope rising from ashes. Laughter mixed with tears, stories intertwined like vines in a garden. I remember a time when all I felt was lost, said Thomas, his voice quaking slightly. But then I found a letter I had written to God years ago, expressing my dreams I had buried under fear. It was like a bright light breaking through the clouds. I realized I hadn't been forgotten. A wave of compassion washed over the congregation, wrapping around Thomas like a soft embrace. Yes, many of them had felt that same shadow of forgetting. In that moment, Rachel leaned in closer. We're not just sharing, we're lifting each other. Every story is a stepping stone, leading us deeper into understanding. A pathway of hope, shouted Judith, her faith igniting like the candle's fire. When we share, we are not alone in our trials. We are stitching a tapestry one thread at a time. Each experience adds strength. Sarah nodded, her heart swelling with gratitude. Each of us embodies God's voice, a piece of a grander design. Let's keep this energy flowing. Let's harness it. When we gather, our stories multiply, kindling the divine spark within us. Around the church, heads bobbed in enthusiasm. Yet just as a spark can ignite, it is also fragile. Was it enough? What if outside the church's walls they faced storms that threatened to snuff out their light? Will we remember the warmth of this gathering when doubt creeps in again? Someone whispered, barely audible yet heavy with significance. In that instant, the atmosphere shifted. A hush fell once more, breaths held tightly. Would they carry this moment beyond the comforting embrace of their sanctuary? Judith broke the silence. It's okay to question. It's okay to feel weak sometimes. But it is in those moments that we must remember each other, the power of our togetherness. We've discovered a treasure here tonight. We can return to it. A collective understanding pulsed through the room like an electric current. The challenge lay not just in the revelations or the shared narratives, but in maintaining the spirit of unity as they ventured into the unknown. Sarah, sensing the depth of their resolve, raised her hands. Let us pray together, not just for strength, but for the wisdom to carry our stories and each other with compassion and love. For in love, we will find the courage to act, to share, to grow. As they bowed their heads in prayer, a soft light enveloped them. It felt like a divine hug, a reassurance woven into the air around them. The flickering candles illuminated their faces. Hope hung bright above the open hearts. Yet, a gentle reminder lingered like the last notes of a song. What are the trials ahead? How would they overcome the chaos outside? God surely has plans, Sarah stated quietly. But what must we do to truly prepare? The question lingered beautifully, enchanting yet unsettling. Would they dare to find the answers and unravel the divine mysteries poised just beyond their reach? The gathering breathed in unison, the shared weight of Sarah's question hanging in the air like a subtle perfume of expectancy. It sparked within each heart a fire that yearned to see beyond the veil of the ordinary. The flickering light of the candles seemed to magnify their collective spirits, casting shadows that danced along the walls, urging them to embrace the divine light within. Judith shifted her weight, her eyes flaring with fresh inspiration. What if, she proposed, voice rich with conviction, the trials we anticipate are the very stages upon which our greatest moments will unfold? What if these challenges are not just obstacles, but invitations to grow in grace? A soft murmur of agreement echoed through the room. The congregation felt more alive, their thoughts swirling like golden leaves caught in a gentle breeze. Let us imagine, Rachel interjected, her tone gentle yet stirring. What would it be like to face those challenges armed with the truths we've shared tonight? What if we step outside this sanctuary not just as individuals, but as a united force, equipped with courage instilled by our shared stories? Thomas, still glowing with the warmth of his own revelation, raised his voice. I once feared sharing my journey, worried it would expose my weaknesses. Yet here today, I can see that our stories connect us, weaving a beautiful narrative of resilience. Together, we can face the storms. As the audience nodded, an undeniable wave of unity surged through them. This was not simply a church gathering. It felt like the birth of something far greater. Hope radiated from every corner, and tears of joy began to stream silently down some faces, mingling with soft chuckles of agreement as hearts began to heal. Suddenly, Sarah's gaze traveled to the open door a draft fluttered in, carrying with it the faint sounds of laughter and life beyond the church's walls. "Hear that?" she said, tilting her head toward the busy street outside. "That's the song of our community. The world beyond is waiting. If we step forward armed with the strength we find here, we could be the light for others." A palpable excitement shifted through the room. The flickering candles symbolized far more than the gathering light. They represented hope ignited against the backdrop of uncertainty. "But how can we maintain this spirit?" Judith asked, her eyes scanning the faces before her, each one a testament to faith and courage. "How do we carry our stories and this sense of togetherness into our daily lives? What can we do?" A chorus of ideas developed, offering help to neighbors, sharing meals with those in need, establishing prayer groups, or simply reaching out to a friend in crisis. Each suggestion brightened the atmosphere, each thought weaving a stronger bond among them. Yet even as ideas flowed, a tension stirred within Sarah. "It's one thing to envision, it's another to live it," she cautioned, her tone sobering but still warm. "The world outside won't always be kind. It can be harsh, judgmental. We need to prepare ourselves for that too. The unexpected will come. The trials will be real." The room held its breath, an understanding dawning upon them. Strength would not be drawn from the absence of fear, but from facing it together. Love would be their shield, unity their armor as they ventured out into a world that often felt chaotic and unforgiving. The flame inside, Rachel whispered, almost as if to herself, "It needs to be fed. We must nurture it." As the candles flickered once more, a renewed sense of purpose ignited within them. Every light, every story, every prayer was like a mirage that promised to lead them through the uncertainties. "Will we dare to shine our light, even in darkness?" Sarah asked, her voice now a gentle challenge. Hope, kissed by resolve, surged within the congregation. But just as the promise of their united march toward the world loomed closer, a new thought unfurled. What if it wasn't only their stories that needed sharing? What if, Sarah pondered aloud, it is also about listening to the stories that wait to be told around us? Are we ready to not just give light, but to receive it? A new journey, a new mystery began to unfold, ringing silently in the hearts of believers. What wonderful revelations would await them when they truly opened their souls to the tales of others? The murmurs of anticipation hung in the air, wafting like the sweet scent of incense. Sarah's eyes sparkled with a newfound clarity. As she looked around the circle of familiar faces, she felt a shift. A call to action was urging them forward. What if, she continued, her voice steady and vibrant, we not only listen, but we fully embrace the stories of those around us? Their struggles might reflect our own. A chorus of nods washed over the gathering. It was as if each heart understood that their healing connected to the stories of the wider community. Rachel leaned forward, her eyes bright with promise. Each person outside these walls carries their own burdens. Just as we've uncovered our truths tonight, they too have experiences waiting to be shared. Perhaps we can create a space where vulnerability is welcomed, where every voice is honored. Thomas's heart raced. So we're not just looking for problems to solve, but seeking connections to share love and light through our shared humanity? Yes, Judith beamed. It's about weaving a tapestry of hope. When we connect with other stories, we weave our threads into theirs. Together, we create something beautiful. The room buzzed with excitement. Each member of the congregation understood intuitively that they could not only share their light, but also be transformed by allowing others to shine theirs. Then Sarah took a deep breath, the weight of her own realizations settling on her shoulders. But we need to be prepared. Listening may unveil truths that challenge us. What if their story is one of pain? What if it pulls us into the depths of their despair? A sudden stillness enveloped the group. Fear flickered momentarily, like a candle struggling against the wind. But isn't that the essence of compassion? Rachel whispered. Isn't the willingness to sit with someone in darkness a divine act itself? Jesus sat with those who suffered. He entered their stories, bringing hope and healing. Sarah felt warmth swell within her. Exactly, she confirmed. It may be daunting, but think of the beauty that can arise from it. Together, we can become conduits of compassion. We can create a bridge connecting our journeys, leading us into the light. I once heard Thomas interjected gently, that listening is an act of love. It opens doors, not just for them, but for us too. We'll find ourselves in their stories, and through that connection, grace will flourish. A silence filled the sacred space again, each member allowing the profound truth to take root within their hearts. What if our gathering grew beyond these four walls? Judith proposed, her voice bubbling with enthusiasm. What if we started a community exchange of stories? A simple sharing circle in the park or at the market. Let us open our hearts fully to others and invite them into our lives. The idea reverberated like a bell, signaling a moment of clarity. The candles flickered in agreement. Sarah, with eyes shining, envisioned the impact, stories flowing like rivers, nourishing the dry ground of lonely hearts. As they contemplated the possibilities, a note of uncertainty threaded through the air. But how do we do it? Rachel queried, her brow slightly furrowed. How do we begin reaching out and inviting others in without losing our way? A comforting hush fell over the gathering once more, the question falling heavy but hopeful. The flickering candlelight cast their shadows into dance, as if the spirit was moving among them, whispering secrets of the night. With hearts stirred, they began to realize that their journey might demand more than they had anticipated. Reaching for others could transform them and lead to unexpected revelations. Are we willing to walk into the unknown? Sarah posed softly, her voice a mere whisper against the backdrop of flickering flames. As hope teetered on the edge of their willingness, a profound sense of anticipation loomed. Would they embrace the stories waiting to be entwined with theirs, discovering a shared calling beyond the veil of familiarity? The gathering held their breath, the air thick with expectancy. Each person felt a flicker of hope, a whisper of possibility unfurling within them. It was as if light filtered through the shadows of doubt, illuminating paths yet unexplored. Perhaps we could start small, Rachel suggested, gentle eagerness infusing her voice. How about organizing a weekly meetup in the park? Just a few blankets, some snacks, and an invitation for anyone to share their story. Even a simple hello could be a stepping stone to something profound. Judith nodded vigorously. Yes, we can create a safe space where everyone knows they are valued, like a sanctuary for hearts. Her enthusiasm kindled a fire in the others. Sarah felt it too, a stirring within her spirit. It starts with us. Each one of us has a light to share. By opening our hearts, we welcome others to do the same. We could honor their stories with our presence, with our love. I'm in, Thomas declared, the joy radiating from him infectious. Each voice matters. If we share our stories, perhaps we can inspire someone who feels lost. We may be the spark of hope they've been waiting for. Excitement buzzed through the group, their collective energy igniting visions of change. Yet amidst the joy, Sarah sensed a heaviness in her heart. She closed her eyes, allowing herself to reflect. What do we truly want to convey? She asked softly, diving deeper into the collective consciousness. A contemplative silence enveloped them. One by one, they glanced at each other, realizing they were exploring something personal, yet universal, a yearning to connect, to heal, to grow together. After a moment, Rachel broke the stillness. We want to show authenticity. We need to be transparent about our fears along with our triumphs. Honesty can be a powerful balm. Exactly, Judith interjected. When we reveal our vulnerabilities, we give permission for others to do the same. What a beautiful exchange that would be. As each spoke, Sarah felt the heaviness lift slightly. There was strength in their vulnerability, a divine thread connecting them all. We should remember, though, Thomas added gently, some stories might carry deep scars. We need to approach those with grace and compassion. Avoiding judgment is crucial. We're here to listen, not to fix. Right, Judith replied thoughtfully. It's about seeing the sacred within each struggle. We must approach every story with love and humility. What we're doing transcends our gathering. It becomes a ripple that can touch the world. The conviction in her voice resonated deeply. Sarah could see that they were becoming vessels of hope, ready to absorb and share the burdens of others. It began to dawn on her that this venture could serve to deepen their own journeys as well. And yet, there was still uncertainty lingering in the air like delicate mist. What if they stumbled? What if they failed to grasp the weight of someone else's pain? Sensing the shared anxiety, Rachel leaned in. Remember, it's not about perfection. God works through our imperfections. Each step we take will lead us closer, not just to others, but also to Him. Their eyes met, and in that moment, a wave of catharsis washed over the group. Let us commit to being open and loving, Sarah said, resolve blossoming in her heart. If we approach the world with open arms and an open heart, we may discover that the unknown isn't to be feared, but embraced. A sudden joy illuminated her spirit, spreading like wildflowers blooming after a gentle rain. Together, we'll shine light into the darkness and discover what stories, what connections await us, she concluded, her voice bold with conviction. With excited chatter, Sarah marveled at how a simple proposal had transformed into a dream or revelation waiting to unfold. As anticipation stirred among them, there was a palpable sense of stepping into uncharted territory. What wonders might await in the stories of their community? And more intriguingly, what hidden threads interwove their own narratives with a world beyond their familiar walls? As the vibrant energy swirled in the air, the congregation stood on the brink of something extraordinary. They were no longer just villagers. They had become a tapestry woven from individual stories, united in hope and love. In that sacred space, amidst the flickering candlelight, Sarah felt a rush of clarity. Let us step boldly into the world outside, she urged, her voice resonating with confidence. We carry within us the light of understanding. Our stories, shared and heard, will give birth to transformation not just within our lives, but in those of everyone we encounter. Judith stepped forward, eyes wide. The fear we hold will only serve to dim our light. Let us rise up and let our community know that they are not alone. We can create a sacred circle where everyone is welcome to share freely. Excitement swelled in the hearts around her. Rachel, once hesitant, now felt a stirring warmth as resolve washed over her disbelief. Yes, a park gathering, a safe haven where we honor each other as journeys. We'll invite those who need healing, connection, and understanding. We can be their sanctuary. The congregation buzzed, the air thick with possibilities. Ideas bounced around like spirited children, each suggestion adding layers to their shared vision. Thomas raised his hand, his expression earnest. But let us not forget, while our own stories shine brightly, we must also ensure we give voice to the unheard. Everyone has something to share, and every voice matters in God's kingdom. As they exchanged thoughts, the very essence of community wrapped around them. It felt like warm sunlight breaking through the thick clouds. Let us begin now with confessing our fears, Judith exclaimed, brimming with enthusiasm. Let us proclaim our intentions and show the world our vulnerabilities. In unison, they began to step forward, one by one, each sharing their own struggles with heartfelt sincerity. Tears flowed freely as they spoke of trials faced, shadows conquered, and newfound courage blossomed within. It was a release, like a river breaking free from the dam, healing flooded through the gathering, washing away the remnants of doubt. With each story, the air thickened with the spirit of transformation as joy intermingled with sorrow. The convergence formed a holy ground. They could feel the sacredness alive in each exchange. The flickering candles brightened, casting a halo around their unity, as if the heavens themselves bore witness. As the gathering quieted, Sarah felt a profound sense of responsibility settling into her heart. We must be a living testament of God's love. She spoke earnestly. This is our calling, not just to share our light, but to be courageous enough to light the way for others. Huddled together, the congregation all reached for hands, forming a connected circle that pulsated with divine energy. The magic of shared vulnerability lingered in the air. They felt it energizing their spirits, pushing away weariness. "Let us pray," Sarah urged, lifting her voice toward an unseen presence. "Father God, grant us the strength to embrace our missions as vessels of your love. Allow us to guide others on their journeys as we humbly walk alongside them." In that moment, a powerful stillness enveloped them. Time seemed suspended, as if every heartbeat resonated in harmony with the universe. When they opened their eyes, an inexplicable warmth enveloped the church, filling it with a divine glow. "Together, we have created a spark," Judith breathed in awe. "Now we need to carry it out into the world. Let's plan our first gathering." As the congregation buzzed with excitement over logistics and to-do lists, Rachel, filled with newfound clarity, suggested, "Let us not only share our journeys, but also encourage others to tell theirs. Every person has a story that could resonate with the heart of another." Cheers of agreement erupted, resonating within them, uniting their hearts in purpose. The details came together seamlessly: dates, themes, activities. They were charged with eager anticipation. Before they parted that evening, Sarah turned back to the congregation, a joyful smile lighting her face. "This is just the beginning, my dear friends. We're forging a path built on faith, love, and unity. You have ignited a fire within me, and together we'll walk toward the light." As they embraced one another, hearts intertwined, a sense of hope soared. Their collective voices could echo beyond the walls of their sanctuary, rippling through lives like the sweetest melody. And as they stepped out into the cool night, a renewed spirit coursed through their veins. Their fears seemed lighter, their burdens shared, their love amplified. Days turned into weeks as the gatherings grew, purposeful meetings blossoming into a movement of empathy. Stories were exchanged like precious gems, healing woven deftly into the very fabric of Green Hollow. Now, the village thrived with renewed life, laughter dancing along the cobblestones. The park became a sanctuary of voices. Strangers shared tears and triumphs, burdens and blessings. As their small community blossomed, God's love radiated outward, illuminating even the darkest corners. In those moments of shared narratives, they discovered the truth. When hearts merge, lives are transformed. They became a beacon of hope, a divine testament to the power of faith, unity, and the stories that connect us all. As Sarah closed her eyes that night, she whispered a prayer of gratitude, a vow etched deep within her heart. "Lord, may we always dare to shine our light brightly, revealing the stories that lead us closer to you. Amen." The world outside echoed the promise of countless lives changed forever, flickering flames illuminating the path toward divine connection. And dear viewers, this is where our journey leads us, the culmination of faith, courage, and unity. But you must act. You need to subscribe now to keep this divine light shining in your life. This is the moment to show your support by leaving a like now. Feed the algorithm and let our shared stories reach those in need. Comment below your reactions and the testimonies that have stirred in your heart. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of love and faith. Let us spread this spark far and wide. Together, let us transform lives with the power of our stories.